So I'm in a strange position of introducing someone who really doesn't need an introduction. I think given he's one of the few people in the world probably known just by his first name. So I'm sure most of you know that Senator Bernie Sanders is a strong supporter of the American worker and, dare I say, the American working class, and one of the principal movers of employee ownership policy here at the federal level. And we are really lucky to have him here and to hear his perspective. And that's all I'm going to say, because we want to welcome Bernie.
See, my problem is I never get introduced. Everyone knows him. What do you have to say? Actually, this is not a new issue for me. When I was mayor of the city of Burlington, we did unusual things. And one of the things we did was hold a meeting on employee ownership, because this concept has been something I've supported for my whole life. And I was amazed. I remember it like it was yesterday. City Hall was packed with people on an issue that city government had nothing to do with. And that told me the resonance of this issue. I don't have to tell anybody in this room that we're living in strange and difficult times. One of the issues that we don't talk much about, although I did write a book on it, is the growth of oligarchy in America. And the fact not only that we have an unprecedented level of income and wealth inequality, in which 60% of our people are struggling paycheck to paycheck, while the billionaire class has never had it so good. But on top of all of that, we are seeing an unbelievable level of concentration of ownership in America. I don't know how familiar people are with that, but in sector after sector, you have a handful of companies really controlling what goes on. You have 3 Wall Street firms that have assets, control assets of over $20 trillion, are the major stockholders in something like 95% of the companies in America. So you got people on top making all of the decisions, economic decisions, and obviously with their zillions of dollars, they buy and sell. Politicians have enormous power here in Washington, D.C., and in state legislatures throughout the country. And with super PACs, you're going to see an election coming up which will essentially be funded by billionaires and their super PACs. So enormous power on the part of people on top. And ordinary people, I think, increasingly feel A, government is not representing their needs, and B, they feel kind of powerless. They feel powerless politically, and they, in many cases, feel powerless on their job. We, in America today, have a decline in, especially in certain parts of the country, in life expectancy. And what the doctors tell us is that one of the reasons for that is what they call diseases of despair. People are turning to drugs, they're turning to alcohol, they're overweight, they're turning to suicide in some cases. People feel fairly helpless. And what I have noticed in my state of Vermont, where we established an employee ownership center many, many years ago, and are doing better than most states in establishing employee ownership and ESOPs, is that when you walk into those businesses, there really is a different tone. People are not cogs in the machine. They feel part of the process. Absenteeism is lower, productivity is better. People feel better about their jobs. They're not going to work just because they have to earn a paycheck. They're going to work because, you know, they enjoy it and they're part of the process. So I am a strong, strong believer in employee ownership. When you own your own company, you're not going to be moving it abroad for cheap labor. When you own your own company, you're not going to be arbitrarily fired. You're not going to be powerless. So when we talk about democracy, it's not only, you know, the right to vote every 4 years. It really has to do with what goes on 24 hours a day. Democracy means having some control over your life when you work. And that's what employee ownership means to me. So this is an issue we have been working on. Vermont is, along with a few other states, one of the leaders in the country in moving in that direction. Here in Washington, we're also making some progress. A couple of years ago, Congress passed legislation that I introduced to deal just with the issue that the previous speaker was talking about, is that all over this country, you have people who started businesses, they may have 40, 50, 60 workers, they're retiring. Everything being equal, they would just as soon leave the company to their employees if they could, if they had the tax benefits, if they knew how to do it. And that is what our legislation provides for. It would educate retiring business owners and workers about the benefits of employee ownership. It is known as the Work Act, and it was modeled on the highly successful employee ownership centers that are established in Vermont and Ohio. Our job now, having gotten the bill authorized, around here everything gets authorized, a little bit harder to get it funded. So we are working hard now to make sure that it is funding. But we can't stop there. We will soon be introducing legislation to create a U.S. employee ownership bank to provide low-interest loans, loan guarantees, and other financial assistance to employees to purchase a business through an ESOP or worker-owned cooperative. By expanding employee ownership and participation, we can create stronger companies throughout the country, prevent job loss, and improve working conditions for the working class of this country. So this is kind of the work you're doing, not to get you too nervous, is a little bit revolutionary. It suggests that people don't have to just work for other people. They can actually own the places that they work in, they can have control over them, be part of the decision-making process. It is a big deal, actually. So I want to thank all of you for the work you're doing, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you very much.